and welcome our attendees back. So again, we're in day 3. Have a full schedule ahead for you, but remember to go to the on-demand sessions on the conference website. And up next, we have Nicaragua. Nicaragua is a great place. Kathy and I love being there. So they have a good perspective is the word I'm struggling for. A good perspective on living in Nicaragua, what it's like on the ground, and they're going to tell us a little bit more about it. So I'll let you guys take it from here.
All right, thank you. This is Daryl Bushnell. Welcome to Nicaragua.
I'm Amy. Thank you for coming.
And we had previously given a presentation on Nicaragua as a country and all the different places you could live and options like that. Today, we're going to talk about our life here. Okay, former lives. Well, we've been here 16 years, so it's we hardly remember it. But I used to be an operations manager for a finance firm.
And I worked as an on-site real estate agent for a construction company for 21 years.
So we've traveled extensively overseas. And like we said, we've lived here for 16 years. We moved from North Carolina in 2006. We're permanent residents here. And
why did we choose Nicaragua? Well, Daryl and I knew early on that we wanted to explore living outside of the US of A and been members of this group and what was the other one? International Living for a long time. So we explored Central and South America, and for some reason we kept coming back to Nicaragua. It has always felt like home to us, and it is our home. We also waited probably too long to make the move. Although Daryl says that all the time, I think, no, we moved at the exact time when we were really ready to make a change.
Okay, we first moved here. We lived for 8 years in a restored Granada colonial, which many people like to do. But after a while, you change your ideas. We built a new home just outside of Granada in 2014. That's our home. We love it. Spend most of our time on the terrace. We're very convenient. We're just 2 kilometers from Granada, yet from Managua and the international airport, we're only 45 minutes. Beaches, which we go to often, are an hour and a half away.
Okay, so we just built our home outside of Granada at about $50 a square foot. We've got about 3,400 square feet, 2 bedroom, 3 bath. 3,400 square feet here is including all of the square footage. So that includes patio, terraces, and the garage. We've been very satisfied with our new home. We truly enjoy it. Daryl will tell other people he had to really beg me to come out here because I loved living in the city. But once we were out here, I just absolutely love it. It's cooler, it's quieter, and the views are incredible.
Okay, things we're doing right now. There's all kinds of opportunities working with NGOs. Money goes so far here, so you can actually go into a village, build a library or a community center and everything, and really help the people because it is a poor country. Mm-hmm. I do a lot of writing on articles on Nicaragua, and we still both golf. We do have 4 golf courses here.
And I run an art studio where I teach painting and drawing. Due to COVID, we haven't had much activity lately, but it is picking up. So I'm only there. The studio is only open 3 days a week as opposed to 5, and hopefully that'll pick up again.
There is community life here. The usual organizations are here: American Legion, Rotary Club, Lions Club. There's a lot of community groups. We have a book club, travel club. Like we said before, there's many foundations, volunteer work if you wish to work with children or adults or women or whatever your thing is. Lots of churches are very religious here, mostly Catholic. And of course, there's the art classes offered by Amy. There's spas, health clubs, yoga, all the usual stuff.
So round trip trips from Miami are about 2.5 hours. And same thing for Houston and LA. So it's not that different. We haven't attended too many movies lately, but there are many movie theaters in Managua. Like Daryl said, we play golf. We like to do that at least once a month. We do a lot of things socially as far as with expats or not. And it just depends on any given day what we will do. You can be as busy or as non-busy as you'd like.
And of course, everybody always asks about the medical here. Healthcare has greatly improved over our time here. But the hospitals, the modern ones and everything are all in Managua. You have to go to Managua for the good
state-of-the-art care.
Right. There are some health discount plans available. What's amazing is there's pharmacies and medical labs all over the place, even Granada. So many times you don't bother seeing a doctor. You just go, oh, I'm not feeling well. I'll go in and have a few tests done, and they'll tell you what you need. And you don't need prescriptions here, which saves an incredible amount of time. The meds are much cheaper. No prescription needed, like I said before, except for narcotics. Many of the doctors speak English, but what's different is they will give you their home cell number so you can contact them. And of course, dentists, they speak English.
But let me just point out, on many occasions, the doctors will actually make house calls, which is, I know, unheard of in most places. But during COVID as well, hospitals were shut down or whatever, and the doctors would come to your home. And if you've had a major operation, they're constantly in touch with you as far as follow-up to make sure everything is going well, which we find incredibly beneficial.
Should mention the government here provided all the COVID shots and everything. We got them as soon as anybody in the United States. Immediately. It was a mix of Pfizer and AstraZeneca. So we've already had 2 boosters, and everything's free.
Yeah.
Here's some typical cost.
Doctor's visit is about $20. If you go to a specialist, it can be a little bit more than that, like between $30 and $50. Ultrasounds, $40. X-rays, $20. And you can get a lot of these. There is a pharmacy here in town that I can get my X-rays, ultrasounds, mammograms, not MRIs, but a lot of things done right at the pharmacy because they have a side clinic. So it's very convenient. Dental work. So many people come down here for dental tourism because it's so much cheaper, even without insurance. For root canals, crowns, implants, it's amazing.
So what kind of cost do we have here? Well, again, your style of living determines you. I mean, if you want to spend a lot of money, you can buy a very expensive home and do a lot of expensive things, but you can live very cheaply. We paid a maid less than $120 a month. She comes 5 days a week. Cooking gas, reasonable. Electricity is expensive, but it's $100 a month. Water, about $20. Garbage pickup, $1.25 a month. And if you live in town, that's 3 days a week. And they pick up anything. Your organic tree trimmings, your regular garbage, dead cats, whatever you want to get rid of. Telephone, we're paying $50 on a plan, which is pretty much unlimited, 2 smartphones. Internet, a little bit more expensive, $80, but we're getting 20 MIPS. Property taxes, how about $95 a year on a 3,400 square foot home? Can't beat that. Gas is expensive. It's around $6 a gallon here.
Okay, so with regard to the monthly cost, as far as U.S. income taxes, you still have to report and pay. We file every year. Fortunately, we haven't had to pay taxes. Medicines, of course, are much less. For instance, when I was in the States, I have two prescriptions. One was for thyroid. My prescriptions, copays, were $40 each for a 30-day supply. I don't even pay that now for a 2-month supply for the medicine. So it's really incredibly inexpensive here. Beers, they're about $1. Restaurant and bar, a little bit more money. Vehicles, more than in the States. They're imported. They're different vehicles. We brought our vehicle, which was a Jeep, which we probably would never do again because they don't have parts here. Biggest vehicles here are Toyotas and what else?
Kia, Suzuki.
Yeah, that's what you want to go with. Food. I don't scrimp. I love to cook, so I'm constantly cooking. So $300 to $600 for 2 people is what we pay a month. It's a little bit higher than what it used to be, but inflation has hit here as well. There's no homeowners association insurance. Daryl already talked about our car insurance. There's a 15% sales tax on just about everything. Most of that is listed in the cost. So it depends on your restaurants, but they'll say if EVA is included or not. And then tips, mostly for wait staff, are around 10%.
And we should mention, because we didn't realize how few countries don't charge taxes on your pensions and Social Security. Nicaragua does not.
Right.
Okay, cars. Most expats do not have vehicles, especially if they live in town.
Mm-hmm.
But you can bring a vehicle or buy it here. Like we said, they're more expensive than they are in the United States. A lot of people rent when you need it, or just hire a driver, or use the cabs or buses. Your USA license is good until expiration, and most expats just renew their USA license and just keep going on it. But you can't do the route like we did. We went ahead and took the test, got a Nicaraguan driver's license. That's good for 5 years.
Easy to renew too.
Right. And so renew yours before leaving your home country because they're usually good for 10 years.
Yeah. Go ahead with the banking.
Banking. We recommend you keep an account in your home country to receive your Social Security, and if somebody wants to send you money, because you can always use the ATMs here to pull the money out.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have a local bank checking account for a smaller amount. We don't keep a lot of money here. Just to make it easier, somebody does some work for you and they'll just give you their account number and you just transfer it over. Accounts here are set up in dollars and Cordobas. We usually do in dollars because the Cordoba is highly inflated. And so really your dollar becomes more valuable every year. And what's funny is for the best rate of exchange, there's people on the corner waving a wad of bills and they'll give you a better rate of exchange than the banks.
Right. Okay, residency for retirees. You must be 45 years old with an income of $1,000 and $150 for each other independent. You must live in Nicaragua 6 months a year. We've just renewed our cedula for the fourth time. So getting it initially, there was a lot of paperwork. After the fact, you just have to verify your income, get a police report, and a health certificate, which you can do at the local. You just go to the local Department of Salud, and they'll tell you what test you need. So it's very simple. When we moved here, we brought our Jeep. We brought a small trailer with some household goods. So we took advantage of the exemptions, which was $25,000 on the vehicle, $20,000 for household goods, and $50,000 on VAT for construction. We have never used that $50,000 for construction because there are a lot of strings attached to that. So it would seem more messy than necessary.
Okay, things to consider before moving. It's not just Nicaragua. Gather your required documents for residency. We set up a mail forwarding service with a street address from Miami, and that came in handy because that way you have a USA address, which is handy for giving the bank for your credit card, debit cards, and things like that. So it looks like you're living in the United States. Regular mail in and out, it's kind of risky. The internal mail system here sucks, but
There are no addresses here, so that's probably the biggest issue, is that you live about 5 blocks from the pink house on the corner on the northeast side of blah blah blah. So it's a very unusual thing. So most people have some type of a mailing service that they use.
a lot of people come down here and look for work. Number one, the government would prefer the work goes to a Nicaraguan. But remember, your competition is working for $2 an hour. So starting a business is a better option. Getting a job is kind of difficult since you have to prove that you have a talent better than Nicaraguans. Hiring employees, it's a poor country, poor education levels, so it's hard to find qualified employees. Oh, just quickly, don't bring anything down hardly. Just bring some suitcases. We brought all that stuff you see on here. What a waste of time. CDs are now
Obsolete.
DVDs are obsolete. So almost everything you need you can buy down here.
Yeah.
This is a website for Nicaragua that we had set up years ago, and there's some stories that come out there. Based on, I had so many diary entries when I first came down here.
And Daryl's an excellent writer, by the way.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but I did write a book. So if you want to see how life is in Nicaragua and our transition, culture shock, and everything else, it's on Amazon under hard copy or Kindle. No Regrets by Daryl Bushdell. Here's just some shots
Of our house.
Yeah, so you can see it's a very nice house. You can see the price I had to pay for Amy to move to the country was
Giant kitchen.
yeah, kitchen of her dreams. So we have so many cabinets you can't even fill them.
That's okay.
But there's a view out the front door. We have beautiful views of Mombacho, the entire Lake Nicaragua or Costa Boca. Our neighbors are mostly cattle and horses roaming up the things. Traffic is half the time a horse cart or an oxen cart, which we find interesting.
We still find delightful. So
Yeah, in fact, I almost can tell what kind of mood I am because if I go into town and there's an ox cart ahead of me and I just pass it and think nothing of it and continue on town, I'm in a good mood. I'm in a bad mood if I get down there and I go, oh, with this horse cart, get out of my way. I'm in a hurry. Some of your USA habits, just don't go away. But it's absolutely beautiful here. You can see here typical cane ceilings is the norm. The house is built to North American standards.
and for earthquake protection.
For what?
Earthquake protection.
Right. They're built to withstand earthquakes. Not that we have them all the time.
No.
Well, we've kind of gone through this kind of fast because we thought there might be questions you had and everything. Of course, you can review this later on. So if you want to look at the slides again.
And we'd always be available for any other questions personally or whatever, if you wanted to contact us.
Yeah. In conclusion, people go, what, but why Nicaragua? It's a different country, a different culture. What we like about it is it's different enough to be interesting, but not different enough to be bizarre. I mean, it's just us, but we couldn't live in Cambodia. We've learned 2 languages now. I'm too old to learn a third one that's a different alphabet and completely and everything. You need to be open to new experiences. You got to learn to relax. You do need to learn some of the language. A lot of people ask, what's the best way to learn Spanish on? I think the best one is Udemy, UDEMY.com. They offer courses on everything, and I think they have the best Spanish course.
Mhm.
You have to remember, you're a guest here. You're the new kid on the block. So, yeah, we do have ugly Americans come down once in a while, that tell us, here's what we got to do. Yeah, plenty of time. You will experience some culture shock, but if you relax, it's very, very nice down here. We love Nicaragua, but we realize it's not for everyone. Only adventuresome souls really need to apply. So that's pretty it. We kind of rushed through it, thinking that there might be questions and everything.
We do have a couple of questions, but were you talking about on the last slide the culture shock? My one culture shock experience in Nicaragua that just popped to mind when you said that was being there with my son when, I don't know, he might have been 6. 6-year-olds are kind of picky eaters. We were in a restaurant with a group. There's nothing on the menu that he wanted, so I knew there was a hot dog stand on the main square in Granada. So we went out and I went to order him a hot dog. He wanted nothing on it, so I said, hot dog sencillo, and they made it, and I was watching them make it, and I thought, well, that must be for somebody else. They handed it to me, and sencillo came with everything. The simple hot dog had
desnudo hot dog.
Exactly,
Desnudo.
it had absolutely everything on it. So it wasn't simple to me, but I guess that's was simple to them. So you learn these things, and it's part of the adventure that you guys are talking about. So a few questions. Is there any established expat community near to where you live? Well, of course. I mean, Granada itself is an expat community, but
Yeah.
outside of town where you're living, are you in a expat community, or are you just off on your own?
Well, we have a mix. We have some Nicaraguans. The majority is expats.
Right. And the Nicaraguans that are here have returned. They left the country as like young adults and have come back.
Okay.
So it's a nice community. It's a small community right now. There's 8 houses here.
8 houses.
8 houses. They're on large lots, but that was just phase 1. So phase 2 will be opening, and yeah, it's not bad at all. And so, like during COVID and whatnot, we got together with our neighbors because we didn't go into town. Everybody was like, no, don't do anything. Right. And we thought, well, this is crazy. We still need to get together with each other. And we've kept that up. So that's something that's nice. And for me, I'm a social butterfly. So there's lots of friends. I would do water aerobics classes, book clubs, a lot of stuff available if you care to, game days, poker games, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of expats, not all from the US. So expats from all over the world.
Which is often better, adds to the mix.
Yes, it's a nice mix.
That's a good point. Like right now, it is so many Canadians coming down.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. If you talk to people in San Juan del Sur, they just go, we have whole communities of Canadians now.
Yep.
So
right.
Things are changing.
All right. The next question here, are there certain areas expats need to avoid living? And are there certain areas expats should avoid traveling to while in Nicaragua?
I would say in general, no. Nicaragua is an incredibly safe country. We have never felt unsafe here, ever. But just like any other place, you don't want to go somewhere alone in the middle of the night because
Right.
it's just foolish.
Yeah.
But I would say that most of the areas in Nicaragua are welcoming to people. Again, it helps if you speak a little bit of Spanish, but you can get by
Sure.
with a translator. So overall, I would say it's fairly.
Yeah,
That's one of the
if
things we
it-
love about Nicaragua.
If there's one area that might be iffy, Managua
Has some barrios.
is where you go for everything. Hard to find parts, movies,
Right.
malls, and everything like that. But has 1.6 million people, so a third of the population lives in the one town. And so there's a lot of poor people, poor neighborhoods. I probably would not drive through
Right.
just to see what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, but they're not areas that would be on your normal route anyway.
No.
No.
I've driven all around Managua. I've been lost, but this is years ago.
Yeah.
In what Americans would consider a bad neighborhood. It was probably a middle class Nicaraguan neighborhood.
Exactly. That's
and
exactly
stopped to ask
right.
questions for directions to get to the airport. And as you said, the people are friendly.
Overall, I personally, this is our own personal opinion, we find Nicaragua to be much safer than our home country.
Yeah, exactly. I'm starting to say more often. I'm amused when readers write in to say, "Is it safe in country X?" And they're writing from the U.S. I'm like, "Do you realize it's not safe in your country?" I mean, there's more than one mass shooting a day on average this year.
Exactly.
It's a big
And that
country.
it-
You
Right.
don't even hear about them all because there's so many of them that the national news can't cover them all.
Exactly.
All right. One final question here. So how is the infrastructure? And I haven't been there in a while, so I don't know if it's gotten how much better it's gotten since I was last there.
It's good.
It's so much better.
It's good. The roads are fabulous, and they're constantly being updated and maintained. Now, there's a lot of areas like to the beaches and stuff where they haven't paved them yet, but I mean, there's so much stuff going on as far as road structure, bridges. Internet is almost everywhere. Cell phone. You can't go anywhere in the country that I'm aware of that you don't have a connectivity to the cell phone.
Great.
So I would say the infrastructure is very good.
And the government provides free internet in all the
Public places.
and the major parks within towns.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
it's like everything. I mean, yeah, in Managua or even here, we can get 20 to 80 MIPS per second internet speed. Okay, if you go out and live 40 miles from Esteli up in the mountains, your electricity might be spotty, your internet might be non-existent.
Right.
You know,
Unless you put a tower up. I mean, and you can do that. I mean, we had a place on the beach and we couldn't get internet. So we bought a tower and then we had great internet. So
we think
and
the infrastructure is very good.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. And I, again, comparing to the U.S., I spend time now every summer at my mother's in Northern Illinois, and my cell signal in her house and the internet in her house is worse than anywhere else I'm ever at in the world. So it just a lot of it does depend on where you are. But if you're right, if you're near the towns and the major population areas in Nicaragua, it sounds like you've got just as good infrastructure.
When we first moved here 15 years ago, the roads were atrocious. Yeah. And there was no internet anywhere. You had a few cyber cafes. So things have really changed.
And electricity.
I mean, grocery stores everywhere.
All right. We're just at the end of time. That was the last question. Any closing comments you guys would like to make?
Well, if you're interested in Nicaragua after what you've heard and after our other presentation on Nicaragua in general, come on down, try it out. We have a very good life here. We have no regrets. We've been here 16 years. We could have left at any time. So try it out.
Yeah. The other thing is, I mean, one of the reasons we did move here is that we didn't feel we could afford to live in the United States on our retirement with insurance and everything else. And I think that is still true. And there's many people here who get less Social Security than we do and are living here just fine, not living hand to mouth. So it's one of the affordability is a great feature here.
All right, great. We'll leave it at that. That's great advice. And yes, definitely, you've got to, once you narrow down your search, you got to put boots on the ground, as they say, and make a trip. So you're right. If you like the idea of Nicaragua, head on down there. All right. Thank you very much, Amy and
You are
Daryl.
welcome.
Appreciate it.